What is up guys, it's Mega giving you yet another deck for Link Evolution. Today guys we're doing my Synchron deck. This deck's of course my own opinion at the end of the day and it's completely cool if you guys disagree with any of the cards shown in the video. This is more like say a Synchron deck, but you can change around some of the extra deck if you really want, because I did put in the end Quasar and Shooting Star, but I've never summoned them once just because I'm guessing I just prefer other monsters to them too, so it's like, by all means you can change the deck a little bit around to make them some more easier, or you could even take them out and put in like Shooting Blazar Dragon, because it might be a little bit better. Then you could add in like another Synchron instead of the Shooting Star Dragon. So, without any further ado guys, if you are struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, check out the card club. Whether they tell you if a card is in this game or not, we'll tell you where to find it, like a campaign, challenge mode, or card pack. That's in the description down below. It will tell you everything you need for this game. And with that guys, let's get into the video. Okay guys, this is a 42 card deck simply because I couldn't add everything in that I really wanted to. By all means, you can take out 2 cards in the decks to like trim it down, so it's a 40 card deck by all means. So starting us off, it's 2 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Springs. She's a hand trap, so you can go second because obviously we're running Infinite Perdence as well, which is also a hand trap. So if you want to go second, by all means. So should your opponent activate any effect that would add a card from the deck to the hand, special summon from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the grave, she shuts it down. Anything basically evolves the deck, she shuts it down. Fantastic hand trap. And also she's a tuner, so if worst does come to worst, you can play Junk Converse effect on her. We've got the lone copy of Cyberverse Synchron. Because it's a Synchron monster, it is able to be special summoned via Junk Speeder special ability. It has a graveyard effect, which is the main reason why I use this bad boy, is because should a monster be in the extra monster card zone, should it be destroyed by battle or by a card effect, you can manage from this graveyard instead to give it a little bit of protection, which is actually kind of nice. Its on-field effect is you can target a level 4 or lower monster control, include itself, and double its level, basically. So it's like, it really can come in handy for you to make those key synchro plays, and again, it's special summon off the Junk Speeder. 3 copies of Doppel Warrior. This bad boy, guys, enables a lot of plays because should you special summon a monster from the graveyard like Jet Synchron or like through Jet Synchron's effect or stuff like that, you can special summon it from your hand, which is actually kind of nice. And also, if this guy is used for a synchro summon, you gain 2 level 1 tokens. So, yep, you can use those 2 tokens. So, say for instance, use this and like Junk Warrior, you'll get 3 you go into like Junk Speeder. You'll get 3 monsters of Junk Speeder, which are all tuners. Then you'll get 2 token of a Double Warrior. So it's like, you've got 6 monsters in play at once. The world is your oyster, whatever you want to do. We've got that lone copy of Fleur Synchron. Again, because it's got Synchron in its name, searchable with tuning, and also through through Junk Speeder. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a Synchron material, especially on level 2 or lower monster from your hand, which is great for Perform Power RI Synchron, because it can extend your plays, and this effect is not once per turn. So if you resurrected it with like Metal Marcher or Monster Reborn and used it Synchron again, you're going for another play should you have the card in your hand. We've got the 3 copies of Jet Synchron, guys. If this card is used for a synchro summon, you can add a junk monster from your hand, like Junk. I believe it's Junk Converter, Junk Synchron, or I forgot what the other one was called. Junk Servant. That's the one. You can add one of them to your hand, which is actually great, because if you search out the Servant, that means you'll be able to special summon it should you have Junk Synchron or a Junk monster on the field. Also, if this card is in the graveyard, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon it from your grave. However, it's banished whenever it's banished, so please bear that in mind. Only downside is you can't use both effects in one turn. Kind of unfortunate, but for instance, if you just go and use the Jet Synchron's effect to search, and then next turn it's in the grave, you can go off your combo extends from there. Or if you just know, right, I don't need that search because it's in my hand, just send to the just don't play its effect, and you're able to search and be able to resurrect it that way. 3 copies of Junk Converter. If you discard this card and 1 tuner, Ash Blossom does count as a tuner, guys, so it kind of makes life a little bit easier. You can add a Synchron monster from your deck to your hand. This is key because if you discard this and any tuner, you've got a level 2 monster in the grave, and you get to search out that Junk Synchron. Because there's a level 2 in the grave and Junk Synchron, you're able to go into Junk Speeder. Then you're able to summon your 3 tokens. And then, if this bad boy is used for a synchro summon, you get to special summon a tuner from your graveyard. Any tuner, doesn't have to be the one you use, so that is actually really great for your combo extender. And again, because it's level 2 or lower, should you use the Duelist Synchron, you're able to special summon this card from your hand. Then we've got the lone copy of Junk Servant. I decided to cut it down to one guy simply because I've got other cards that kind of like does the same thing, that doesn't rely on having a junk monster. So if you control a junk monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. That's its effect. It's not limited to once per turn, and that's pretty much it. So actually a very key card because again, it's searchable with Jet Synchron, and through just this and Junk Synchron, that's a straight level 7, or just summon it with any of your other tuners, go off from there. Then the 3 copies of Junk Synchron, one of the key cards in this deck, because when this card is normal summoned, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your grave, and you get special summon it. Its effects are negated, but majority of our cards like Doppel Warrior and Junk Converter activate their effects in the graveyard if they're synchro summoned. So even if their effects are negated, like you resurrect them with Junk Synchron, you can still use their special abilities, which is actually kind of sweet, really. Then we've got 2 copies of Perform Pal Hat Trick. Now the reason why I'm running Hat Trick, you might think, whoa, why the hell is this card in this deck? Reason why is because Supreme King Dark Room is limited to 1 in this game. Otherwise, I'd take 2 of these and add in 2 more copies of Dark Room. And I decided, right, I want a level 4 monster that could be special summoned like Dark Room can. So I decided, you know what, Hat Trick might be better. You might, if you want, you could just take out these 2 and add in 2 more copies of Junk Servant. Be my guest. Basically, if you control, well, if there are 2 or more monsters on the field, you get special summon this card from your hand. So that includes if your opponent has 2 monsters, or if you just summon out that lone copy of Junk Synchron, and your opponent has a monster, there's 2. Special summon it, boom, go into Junk Speeder just from that play. Really great, guys. Then we have the lone copy of Synchron Carry. You might think, well, I'm only running 1. It's because we're running another monster that kind of has its special ability, which is kind of like Garnet in the deck. I'll get to it later. So during this card's effect, during your main phase, you can normal summon a Synchron monster in addition to your normal summon. However, you can only gain that extra normal summon once per turn, unfortunately. So you can't use the other monster in conjunction with Carrier. And if another Synchron monster is sent to the graveyard, you can gain a token basically, which is kind of sweet. But this is there because if you summon this and you have that Junk Synchron in hand, you're able to go into Junk Speed and establish all your combo plays. So that's the main reason why you play it. It's level 2, so you can use it with Duelist Synchron's effect. The stuff goes off from there, but I decided to use Ron because I've got another card that can search out another monster that pretty much does the same thing as this. One of some pendulum cards, guys, and you might think, whoa, pendulum? Yeah, that's right, because we've got a pendulum scales that can range from like 0 to 6 or 7. So that way, all of our tuners, all of our like level 2 monsters can all be special summoned via these cards' effects. So that means you gain additional summons to extend your plays even further. So we've got 2 copies of Pendulum Muccio. What a name that is! That is one of the best names I've ever heard in my life. So I don't really play this card for its normal summon. Like, if it's normal special summons, you can special on a level 1 face-up pendulum monster from the X deck. So you can so you can't place a Ferro because you don't actually own another one. Its pendulum ability is actually kind of a decent one. So if you play it, so if you activate it to put it into your pendulum zone, you can target one of your pendulum monsters that is banished or in your grave and add it to your hand. So for instance, if you played like 1 for 1 and discard another pendulum card or stuff like that, you can add it back to your back face up in your extra deck, which means you'll be able to synchro summon with it. So the main reason why you'd play it, it's a level 1, so it's great so it's great for like getting those key levels, and also it's used for the next monster to cheese out Metal Marcher, which I'll explain in a second. And 3 copies of Perform Pal Odd-Eye Synchron. Again, it's got the word Synchron, so it's searchable with tuning, searchable with Junk Speeder, you name it. It's absolute fantastic card, guys. This card is. So if it's normal summoned and you have basically another copy of it in the grave, like if your opponent like negates the summon if it's gone to the grave, you can special summon it from the grave. It's actually not a bad effect. The main reason why you would use this card, and it is not a once per turn effect, you can target a monster in the pendulum zone and use it, or a special summon it, and then you immediately get to synchro summon. So for instance, if you have this and Dark Room in play, that's a level 6 straight out of that. If you go it with Pendulum Muccio, that's a level 3 monster, and that level 3 is Metal Marcher, which can then get back another Synchron. Oh, Plays are brilliant, guys. Absolutely brilliant. That's the main reason why I would use it. If you've already got it in your hand and you want to like use it for pendulum summoning, it has got a scale of level 6, which is actually kind of key because you get like a big boost with all your monster plays. And that's the main reason why you'd use Odd Eyes Synchron, guys. It's absolute key card. And then one copy of Dark Voom. The reason why I'm running this, guys, is because it's a free summon, basically. You have the Foolish Burial to get this card in the graveyard, or like Double Warrior if you've got like the Junk Synchron in hand. So what this card's effect is, if it's in the grave, you can and you control no monsters, so start your turn, you can special summon it from the graveyard. So it's a free level 4 monster. And then again, if you've got that Jet Synchron or I don't know, Cyberverse Synchron, boom, straight into Junk Speeder. And then because if this guy is normal special summon, like even through its effect, or if you just normal summon it, you get to search Gate 0 to your hand. And Gate 0 is a key card because, yeah, you can't really synchro summon with Junk Speeder, but you are able to like activate it, and then you've instantly got a pendulum scale of 0, and if you get like another Odd Eye Synchron added to your hand, you can instantly go off for a pendulum summon. That's the main reason why you would use Dark Voom. And that's the main reason why I use Gate 0. I never summon it. The main reason you'd use it is either if you have to discard a card for Warrior Guitar, or if you need to just basically pendulum summon away. And then we have got 3 copies of Synthetic Warrior Guitar. Absolute beast, guys, because he's a level 3 Junk Odd Eyes Performer Pal Synchron. Performer Pal Odd Eye Synchron, I get his name right eventually, is level 2. So if you've got Odd Eye Synchron and this guy, level 5 Synchro, guys, that's Excel Synchron, and you can go into Excel Synchron, you can go into Junk Speeder if you want as well, which is kind of key. Hyper Librarian, absolute great, guys. And its pendulum ability is absolute fantastic because you can discard a card, any card, so you've got a dead or you just want to get a card to the grave. Go for it. Then you get special summon Synthetic Warrior Mix from your deck. The effect will only activate if Mix is in the deck. If it's in your hand, you can't play its special ability. So, but even if you can't play its special ability, it's got a scale of level 7. So if you have Michio, or if you have 0, you can go into a synchro play, a pendulum play. And then finally we have Mix. And if Mix is special summoned, guys, or normal summoned, however, if it's summoned, you gain an additional normal summon. And being a level 5 is kind of key for a lot of your synchro plays. And so the reason why I say we're only running the 1 copy of Synchro Carrier is because this and Mix kind of does the same thing, but Mix is searchable with the guitar, and it gets on the field, you get a free summon. And those free summons can kind of be a key because a lot of decks are evolved around normal summoning only once. In this, you have the potential of summoning twice per in a turn, which is actually kind of key. Going on to some magic cards, guys. We've got the lone copy of Foolish Burial, limited to 1. The reason we're running this is because, again, just combo starters. You can send Dark Voom to the grave, so then you're able to special summon Dark Voom and go off on there. If you have, for instance, like say the Junk Warrior or the Junk Synchron in your hand, send Double Warrior. Then that way you can just play Junk Synchron's effect, resurrect it, boom, instant level 5 from there. It just goes on and on and on. It's just absolute key. You can even send Jet Synchron to the graveyard, because then Jet Synchron can play its effect and special summon itself. Oh, you can do a lot of things. We've got that lone copy of Monster Reborn, another combo starter, because at the end of the day, it's a free summon. You can get back another monster that's like, let's say you're missing, I don't know, a level 2 monster to go into your play. Bring back the level 2 monster. You want to go into, I don't know, you just need that extra tuner. Resurrect the tuner. You see what I mean? Nice and easy. That lone copy of 1 for 1, also limited, guys. The reason we're running this is because I find sometimes you just need a monster to get deck going. So being able to send a monster to the grave like Double Warrior, just get into the graveyard, and then you get special summon either Cyberverse Synchron or Jet Synchron straight from your deck. Then if you have, for instance, a level 2 monster, say for instance you have this Double Warrior and Junk Converter in your hand, just say those 3. You could literally send Double Warrior, or you could send Junk Converter to the grave, and normal special summon the Cyberverse. Normal summon Double Warrior, play Cyberverse effect to double its level. Then you can go into level 5 play. It's literally stuff like that, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. It's just there just to help you start off your combo. Part of Extravagance, it is so easy to get monsters in the graveyard. You go through them like there's no tomorrow. This, you just get to shuffle 5 monsters back into your deck, draw 2 cards. Drawing those extra 2 cards is just absolute key because you could just gain that key card you need. Reinforcement of the army. A few of our monsters are warriors, like for instance between Rhoda and Tuning you have got like 4 cards that can search Junk Synchron. You can search the Servant, the Converter. You can do a lot of things with Rhoda. And then Tuning, you can add a Synchron monster from your deck to the hand. That does include Cyberverse Synchron. That does also include the Performer Power Synchron, because that's Synchron in its name. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Then you get to send the top card of your deck to the grave. So if you are the luckiest guy in the world, like Yugimoto luck or Yusei luck, and you add Junk Synchron to your hand and you send Double Warrior to the grave, you're done, because you could just special summon a Junk Warrior, so you could just normal summon the Junk Warrior, special summon Double Warrior back, go from there. That's if you are the lucky man. Then finally, 3 copies of Infinite Pertinence. This is a hand trap, guys, where if you have no cards on the field, you can activate this card from your hand. It's great going second because it can shut down your opponent's plays. It's like an Effect Veiler but better, simply because Effect Veiler can only activate in the main phase. This can activate whenever it down roll once. And the best thing is, as well, because it's not a monster, your opponent can't call by the grave Infinite Impertinence, unlike they would do with Effect Veiler. And also, if this card is set and you activate it, if a spell or trap activates in the same column as it, it's negated, which is actually kind of key, because say your opponent's got like a set card on the other side of the field and you negate a monster that's in the same that's in the same column, you can shut down that card from even activating. And that's it for the deck, guys. Going on to the extra deck. As you can see, we are not running links, which means yes, I am not running Crystalline Happy Firebrax or Needle Fire, but simply because it's just not needed. Honest to God, it's just not needed. So yeah, you kind of think this is a bit weird, but let's get into it. So Excel Synchron, guys, level 5. It is a Synchro tuner. So so you are able to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, which is kind of key. You can send a Synchron monster from your deck to the grave. We have plenty of cards in order to increase this card's level or decrease its level. So then you're able to fit onto a lot of Synchro plays. It's key because I like to use this card with Hyper Librarian during your opponent's turn, because then you're able to go into Satellite Warrior during your opponent's turn and pop cards on their field. Oh, you can do a lot of things. We're using that 1 copy of Clearing Synchro Dragon. You can take this out for any level 7. I just chose this is because it's just a genetic level 7, because I just needed sometimes a level 7 just to help me with my plays. Like, for instance, you can go into Crystal Wing very easily, and it's like, right, I don't particularly want to use FA Dragster to go into Crystal Wing, so yeah, just use Clearing. It's actually got not a bad effect, guys, where should your opponent activate a monster that's level 5 or higher, it can shut down the effect, kind of nice. And also, if a monster that's level 5 or higher targets another card in the field, again, you can negate it. That's what Clearing is all about that negation. And then the upgraded version is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. A key card, guys. I like to go in this as quickly as I can, simply because once per turn during either player's turn, should your opponent activate a monster effect, Crystal Ring shuts down the effect. Really great. It's like an Infinite Pertinence but monster form. And Crystal Ring not only negates the monster's effect, it destroys it, and then it will gain attack equals to that monster's attack points. Also, if it battles a level 5 or higher monster, Crystal Wing will gain that monster's attack points, which is actually kind of nice. Gets over a lot of beefy cards. We've got that 1 copy of Crystalline Quandux, I believe it's called. Again, this is a Synchro tuner, but it's a level 4. So then that way, if you wanted to, you can go into a lot of key cards. So you go into Synchro Dragon during your opponent's turn, because its effect is during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can synchro summon a monster with this card, which is the main reason why you would use it. Actually, the phrase was the only reason why you would use it, and that which is actually kind of key, because again, being able to synchro summon during your opponent's turn into key cards can be very useful. I decided to add in Drago Berserk of the Tenji. You could take this card out and put in like Omega if you want. I decided to go with Tenji simply because I wanted another card that kind of activates via monster effects. Well, Omega kind of doesn't, but you could add him if you want. So, should your opponent activate a monster effect, you can banish the card. The effect will still trigger, but it banishes, which is kind of actually decent, because should your opponent activate like Effect Veiler on another monster, Tenji will banish the card and Effect Veiler will only activate if it goes to the graveyard, so kind of very key. And it gets around a lot of pesky cards like Battle Fader and all that lot. But the main reason why you use this card is for big oomph play, because if it destroys an opponent's monster, it gains that monster's attack points, and it's not until the end phase, it just gains it flat out. And if your opponent has another monster in play, it can make another attack during the next battle, during the same battle phase, which is actually kind of sweet. We've got one copy of FA Dawn Dragster, level 7 guys, so while Crystal Wing and like Drago Berserker kind of focus on monster effects, this focuses on spell or traps. So should your opponent activate a spell or trap card, you can decrease this card's level by 2 and then negate the card. And this card will gain 300 attack for each of its levels. So each time you use its effect, it's going to go, its attack points are going to go lower and lower. So please bear that in mind. But it starts off with 2100 attack points and then it'll just go down, but it's actually kind of key. And also if it attacks a monster in defense mode, it deals piercing damage. We've got that lone copy of Formless Synchron. Again, this is the original Synchro tuner. If this card is Synchro summoned, you draw an extra card. If Hyper Librarian's in play, you get to draw basically 2 cards, which is actually kind of sweet. And also during your opponent's turn, you can Synchro summon during your opponent's turn. So it's really key. So for instance, if you've already used like a lot of your key cards, like for instance, if you've got this and Hyper Librarian and Speedster, you could just go into shooting Quasar Dragon if you really want. Main reason why you'd run it. We've got one copy of Herald of the Arclight. It's a level 4 guys. This guy is an Omni Negate. So for instance, should your opponent activate a spell, trap or monster effect, you can tribute this card, negate the activation and destroy the card, which is pretty key. Also, should any monster be activated from the hand, should any monster be sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, it's banished instead. So it's like a macrocosmos. So should your opponent they play Foolish Burial, no, they're banishing the monster, they send it to the graveyard. Actually kind of key because it shuts down some decks. The main reason I've been saying this guy is Junk Speeder, the bad boy of this deck, absolute sweet. Mwah. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon as many tuners as you want, different levels from your deck. So for instance, we're only running level 1, level 2 or level 3. So you can only special summon up to 3 monsters with this card. Which is actually pretty key because you'd always special summon Junk Synchron, so this is only level 3. Then you get a choice between Fleur Synchron or Odd Eyes Synchron, depending on what's on the field. And then you obviously get a choice between Jet Synchron and Cypress Synchron. So that's the main reason why you do it. It does lock you into only special summoning Synchro monsters for the rest of the turn, but as you can see, we're only running Synchro, so it doesn't affect us one little bit. Run the one copy of Martial Metal Marcher, that's a mouthful. This is again a Synchro tuner. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon a tuner from the grave, so you just extend your combo pieces even more, which is actually great. And also any Synchro monster that is Synchro summoned using this card is also treated as a tuner. So it's actually kind of weird that you could have like a level like 8 Crystal Wing that's actually classed as a tuner, which is actually kind of weird. So this is just there for combo extend. Again, you can use it with Odd Eye Synchron with your Michior in the extra deck, also in the pendulum scale because they're obviously level 3. Easy way to get out of this bad boy. One copy of Satellite Warrior. This guy is absolute beast because if it's Synchro summoned, I like Synchro summon this guy during my opponent's turn, or if they just end on a board and you just want to blow it all up. Because if this guy is Synchro summoned, you could target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Synchro monsters in your grave. You're going to have a lot. Trust me, by the time you've done this, you've got loads of monsters. Just by using Excel Synchron and like Hyper Librarian or Junk Speeder, this card can just pop 2 cards. If you have a lot more monsters, which you would be doing, it can pop loads of cards. And for each card it destroys, it gains 1,000 attack points. It's actually pretty sweet. And if it's destroyed, you can special up to 3 level 8 or lower Warrior Synchron or Stardust Synchro monsters in your graveyard. I've never used its floating effect because I've never survived, the opponent's never survived that long, but it's really great. Then that one copy of Shooting Quasar Dragon and Shooting Star Dragon. I've only added these cards in, guys, because I did a poll asking would you rather have Shooting Quasar or Shooting Blazar, and everyone was like, oh yeah, you should add in Quasar because it's obviously a Yusei deck. I'll be honest, I've never summoned these cards just because I've never had the opportunity, because I just prefer the other monsters more realistically. Because it's like, if I have the opportunity to have like a monster negate and a spell negate rather than Quasar, I'd rather do that, especially if I'm going first, by all means. But it's like, yeah, this is actually not a bad card, guys, because if this card, you need a synchro tuner and 2 synchro monsters. The only downside is this card gains an extra attack for each synchro material it's used. So if you use 2 monsters, it's going to gain 2. It can attack. It gains 2 attacks basically. And during either player's turn, when your opponent activates activates card effect, you can negate it and destroy it, which is actually pretty nice. And if this card leaves the field, special summon a shooting star dragon from your extra deck, which is the only reason why it's in the deck. I don't have a Stardust Dragon, so you can't summon it out legitly. If you want to, you could take out Drago Berserker, because then that way you could special summon Shooting Star legitly, but I just don't. The only reason why it's in there is because when Quasar leaves the field, its floating effect special summons it out. And its effect is you can check the top, once per turn you can check the top 5 cards of your deck. It gains an extra attack for each tuner, which is actually kind of nice. And also during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster spell or trap, you can negate it, which is actually pretty sweet. And then we have Stardust Charge Dragon, where if this card is synchro summoned, you draw an extra card. And if Hyper Librarian's in play, you're going to draw another card. The main reason why you do, then you'll just synchro summon it off with another monster. Is the only reason why I play it. And then finally, TG Hyper Librarian. You could add in another card of this if you want to make it more reliable. With this card, if it's synchro summoned, and there's a phrase like if a monster is synchro summoned, you draw a card. That's not a once per turn. So the main thing, you want to go into Hyper Librarian straight away, because then in every single time you synchro summon after, you're just going to keep drawing for days. And then again, if you go into Formless Synchron, you get to draw an additional card, because also you're going to draw 2. Stardust Charge, you're going to draw an additional card. And then if you add in another Hyper Librarian and you have both of them in the field, the effects will both trigger. So you're basically going to draw 2 cards with each synchro. It's the main reason why I do it. And with that, guys, that's it for the deck. I kind of rambled a bit on more, but it's very technical, this deck is. I've really enjoyed this deck. I don't know all the combos, so in some replays you might think, why is he doing that? You could do that, you could bring out this monster. I don't know every single play off the top of my head, because there's that many like monsters and synchros and stuff you can do, but by all means go for it. It's absolute blast. This deck is absolutely very fun, and also I can say it's absolutely fun to play. If you enjoy this deck, guys, hit that thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing, because either one will help out the channel grow. I think the next deck I was going to do is another synchro deck, or I might do it an Infinity deck, Infinity Track deck. So stay tuned for either one of them. I think it's like this Go Synchro deck, so I wanted me to try and make. So I'll do either one and pair of them. I have got a new playlist coming up, maybe a new playlist coming up soon with a friend. We'll get into that in a bit if it goes through. And with that, guys, I hope you enjoy the replays, and wherever you are in the world, take care and stay healthy. Goodbye.
Time for me to rev things up.
keep on driving もっと激しく走れ振り返ることなんてできないわ Wait up keep on burning so 熱く燃やして嵐のように全てを蹴散らせフルスロートで行くぜクリアマイ引きずった無力な日々ぶっ壊してもうダッシュで今を突き抜けろ泣いてちゃ No way 目に見えない何かに怯えグリップ効かないコーナーじゃ迷いは禁物だぜ覚悟か腕をまだ誰も見たことない明日へお前すれ風クリアマ